Okay, Evan, I see you've been going up and down. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm good now. You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect.
Are we getting stock talk? Should
I
be
DM
coming
stock
in.
talk and whatever, but I am definitely down to get going. It's been a crazy day in the market. I know yesterday futures were up for a little bit. I checked back this morning and we were nice and in the red. Opened up, had a lot of blood around everywhere, and we've made a little bit of a comeback. Still definitely a red day, 100%. But we've made a little bit of a comeback. I do actually have one or two or three, actually a couple, 5 to 6 stocks that agree in my portfolio right now. So it's made a nice little comeback. Bitcoin's also right, almost back at 36K. So yeah, I'm excited for this call. Excited to hear what all the amazing investors and traders have to say on here.
Perfect. Let's dive right into it then. So today's definitely been pretty interesting in the market. For anyone that joined us this morning, we did about 2.5 hours. That ran from right when market open started till close to noon EST. Towards the time when we were closing it, SPY was pretty much towards its lows of the day. It had dropped almost 3% on the day. Kind of bottomed out around down 3.7-ish%. Closer to 12:30, and then has since resurged. Surged all the way up around 2:10 p.m. to down only 1.34%. Took another little bump, but is now kind of trying to fight it out. So we're going to see whether we get this, melt up or down. I think into the close. I wouldn't be surprised to see it go one way or the other. We're going to be bringing on a panel of investors today. We have a bunch of them already here that I'll be discussing opportunities they're seeing for this week. We talked through a lot of micro and macro stuff earlier, and then once again, if you're new to seeing this, my name is Gav Blacksberg. I do run the Wolf account, which you see up here co-hosting. I hosted that space this morning. I'm hosting this space from the Rippers account. This account is kind of a dual threat. I will be hosting spaces from it along with Stock Market News. Stock Market News does the tweets from this account, so this is a great account to be following if you are not already. Let's get started and rolling into it. We actually have a new guest on this today. We got PB Investing. So PB, have you made any moves in the market today?
Hey guys, yeah, I actually have. I stayed pretty cash heavy over the weekend, and I played some calls. I actually kind of caught the bottom, kind of not, but so I bought them. I think it was at like 428, and then I sold them at like 434 for like a 60% gain, and then I'm back in them. I'm up like 20%, but yeah, I'm just playing whatever I see in the chart and whatever the trend, just playing the trend. Honestly, I'm not trying to like make any predict anything, just playing the trends because of how volatile it is right now. You got to be very.
Is that on SPY?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are you liking on SPY right now? Are you in a position? You're
Yeah.
in longs?
Yeah, I'm in calls right now. But I'm just day trading.
What calls are you in?
I'm in January 28th 450s.
Why that level?
My average is like 70 cents. They're at 90. So I'm doing pretty good so far.
Very nice. So just kind of scalping?
Yeah, I'm just scalping. Lotto, I'm not going too heavy. Right now, I feel like you don't need to put as much money in because of how volatile they are. So you're just I'm putting not too much size, and I'm letting my runners run a little bit,
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a pretty good way to go about it. Anything you're kind of watching as we go into the last hour here? Any positions you think you might take?
To be honest, no. I'm just watching QQQ. I'm watching all the indexes to just see how my SPY moves, and I might day trade it both sides, and I'm adding to one swing of mine. It's an OTC. It's called NAFS. But yeah, that's it for now.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, PV. Appreciate you tuning in and being up here with us. All right, Sarge, you kind of started a little bit beforehand, but we'd love to get a full rundown on what moves you've made today and what you're liking going into the rest of the week.
Yeah, so I'm taking a little bit of a gamble here. I've been telling you guys pretty much since Thanksgiving to stay skinny because it was a trader's market and not an investor's market. And in the last couple of weeks, it wasn't even a trader's market. It was really just a tough market. I'm starting to get a little less skinny. I'm thinking the Fed has to go a little less hawkish than everyone else, let's say at Goldman Sachs and some other shops is thinking. I'm also thinking that Microsoft and Apple are probably going to sound a little bit better than the dire things regarding the supply chain and and the quarter forward, and then the full year forward that we're hearing. So I'm actually starting to think this is a chance to maybe get long a little. I'm not saying the sell off is over. I'm just saying we might get a violent rally here for a day or two, possibly. So I added to Disney significantly. I moved into the Grayscale Ethereum Trust, which is not actually cryptocurrency, but they hold cryptocurrency. And that's actually the first time I've ever ventured at all into the cryptocurrency space. I added to Redwire, Planet Labs. I was in cold storage this morning day trading when they asked me to write an article about cold storage. So I stopped trading at that point. So I ended up being long cold storage. I'm not in it for the whole 30%, but I did get in it before, before most people were awake. So I do have something of a profit in that one. And I'm adding to Microsoft going into the earnings, which are tomorrow night. And I swung and missed on Apple, but I want to get long Apple if I get another chance. I'm already long Apple, but I want to get longer Apple ahead of the numbers. I think that might be all right. As far as other side catalysts, we've seen some pretty good support, although they're not up right now for a lot of the aerospace and defense names. I guess a lot of people are thinking maybe this whole Eastern European geopolitical situation, I won't say it will blow over, but maybe they're thinking maybe it won't come to a worst case scenario now that the Netherlands is sending fighter planes, Spain is sending Navy ships, Denmark is sending fighter planes. So you're getting so many countries in NATO now involved in the operation that maybe they're hoping that the Russians are going to back down a little bit. That said, I think we hear from Raytheon and Lockheed tomorrow. I'm long both names. I have not added to them because they haven't sold off with everything else. But those are going to be some interesting earnings calls tomorrow.
Perfect. So, I see Catherine's here too. Awesome. So going into this last hour right now, is there anything you're watching that you might add to before we close?
If I can get, let me see. Where's the Apple chart? I did want to add to Apple and I missed it before. So what did the bottom out? A little about 155. If I can get like into the 156s here, I'll add some Apple before the day's out.
Perfect. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Sarge. Now, real quick, on Apple, do you have expectations for earnings?
I have expectations for the quarter. I think will be all right. I think it'll be fine. I think Tim Cook will say what he needs to say. I'm looking forward. I want to hear what he says about the supply chain, about expenses, about shortages, semiconductors, all those things we need to hear about. And if he comes out smelling a little better than a rose or not as bad as we think, I think between him and Satya Nadella, those are the two big names besides Jerome Powell that I'm focusing on this week. If those two guys can get through their earnings calls and their guidance in one piece, then I think we all might.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think that those would be pretty huge. And Apple, that is going to be on Thursday or Wednesday?
Apple's, I believe, is Thursday after the bell, and I think Microsoft. I'm not looking at my notebook. Where's my
Microsoft is tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
Tesla's
I believe.
Wednesday. Apple's Thursday. All after the close.
Right.
There's got
a lot of big names on this. I mean, I know you guys love Tesla and all, but there's I mean, you guys don't follow like Whirlpool and stuff like that. But Robinhood is later this week. Caterpillar's
Visa,
on Friday.
MasterCard, Chevron.
Yeah, Chevron is Friday. I'm along that one too. Ericsson, General Electric. That's tomorrow morning. You got McDonald's is sometimes this week. I don't see them. There it is, Thursday night. McDonald's, MasterCard, Visa. It's a pretty busy week.
Verizon, Xterra, Texas Instruments, J&J, Raytheon, American Express, all tomorrow. Lockheed, 3M, a bunch. Tomorrow's a busy day too.
Yeah, you got a busy week here. It's not going to be the busiest week of earnings season, but you got a lot of the big names, a lot of the important stuff, and Tesla is important. Tesla will move markets because so many people are not just enthusiastic about it, but heavily invested in it.
Perfect. Yeah, keep an eye on Tesla. I mean, which also
ServiceNow too. ServiceNow is Wednesday night also. ServiceNow is a big one. Lam Research is one day this week also, isn't it? Wait, what's LRCX? That's a huge name. Lam Research will tell you how and KLA Tencor also on Thursday. So between Lam Research and KLA Tencor, you're going to get a real good picture on how the semiconductor businesses are going. Those are the equipment companies.
Fantastic. Keeping an eye on those. And yeah, I completely agree with you that Tesla is going to be something that moves markets. You know, it's also a pretty hefty portion of SPY, right? So as that moves, so does the rest. Okay. Catherine, great to have you up here. How's everything been going with you today?
Hello, hello. Thanks for having me. Sorry that I was late to the party.
No, you're all good. We're just getting rolling.
Well, it's been quite the start to the week so far, and I'm glad that you guys were just talking about earnings because I think that shaping up going into the Fed meeting, it'll be interesting how the market reacts. It'll be nice to hear from a big tech name such as Microsoft, kind of get an idea of what they're looking at. And then going into later this week after the Fed, we really get Tesla and whatnot. So those are two stories that I'm definitely watching as a journalist this week. But overall, I mean, it's really looking into how much further can we fall? Because we are in oversold territory.
And how much further do you think we can fall? Do you have any opinion on that?
Nope, I can't speculate. I'm sorry.
No, I know. We had this conversation. Okay. So, on top of that, I agree with you. It definitely is how much further can we fall. I'm getting some people that have just I think some ridiculous perspective of this is, March 2020, we're going to get a 50%, fall back towards those lows. And I don't see anything like that happening or coming towards there. But the fact that, we're underneath the 200-day, we're now lower, we went lower today. Underneath it, I still see room down towards the 408, 407 level personally. But of course, it's kind of what, wherever this market wants to go. This buying rate here coming in right now is good. However, overall, when you take a look at the volume today, we've had extreme volume today and yesterday. Well, I guess more today, actually. Today was a pretty large day with a lot of selling. So I think the question is, did a lot of that selling get out of the system? And now, after this massive red day, which is, I mean, just this is the most selling I think we've seen in a day since pretty much March 2020. I think this is pretty much the highest that I'm seeing from volume wise, going back to there. So when you have days like today, does it allow the market to kind of recoup and get back on track? So just any thoughts around that?
You're completely right about the March 2020. I was actually, before I jumped on here, literally just doing research on corrections and when we last saw one. I think that it really depends on how this week ends up to see where the sentiment lies. Watching the Dow go from down 1,100 at the low to now down 1%, shows that there's still buyers here. There's still people that are coming back into the market. I think it's all about the Fed, and I hate saying that, which is why I paused, because I do think that it's a little bit overblown to say that all of the negative sentiment that we're getting right now is due to the Fed, but hearing from Jerome Powell really sets the tone of the market for at least this next month, if not the rest of the week.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be pretty important to see what he says. Do you have any specific things that you will be looking for going into that meeting as a journalist? What are you watching for?
That's a tough one. So right now, having started out this week not fully looking into what everyone else is trying to look for, if that makes any sense. Basically, what I try to do is the beginning of the week, especially with the Fed week, I go through and I read as much as I can from market pundits, kind of seeing what they're looking for and what Jerome Powell could answer of their questions. And then I go through and read different, economic articles, all of the mainstream media articles of kind of the setup of Jerome Powell. And I talk to people like Sarge here, and kind of get the feeling of what traders want as well, so that I can mentally put together what people are expecting from Powell and how those expectations will line up with reality.
Awesome. Okay. Anything else you want to add on there?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, perfect. All right, Stock Talk, we got you up here. Great play this morning that we had on our call with DWAC, and obviously with that market reversing, made a lot of sense to get out of there. Have you made any other moves throughout the day, and is there anything you're watching in Power Hour?
No, took profits on some of my lucid puts earlier, which was a nice decision because the stock rallied almost back to green. DWAC puts, those were nice this morning. One trade I took that was just a funny trade was I took Coors calls at the bottom, and then it just wasn't moving how I wanted it to. And so I sold them pretty much break even. I got in at 35 cents, sold them at 40 cents. And then literally 10 minutes after I sold them, it exploded almost red to green. So that was funny. I could have made 100% on those calls, but got out even instead. But hey, that's part of risk management. I mean, I didn't like what Bitcoin was doing, so I didn't want to be in them, and I definitely did not want to hold them overnight. So got out a little bit early, but it's just funny. It's just funny how things work sometimes. It was literally 3 minutes after I sold them, it exploded. So that was just a funny trade. But yeah, I mean, other than that, the DWAC puts were the only real play I made today.
Okay, awesome. So what else are you watching, I guess, in Power Hour / going into the rest of the week?
Just keeping an eye on the Qs. More concerned about the Qs right now than SPY. I feel like SPY is trading pretty cleanly off the levels. The Qs, I can't really predict what they're going to do. I think that right now you're just getting sentiment swinging back and forth. People are really unsure about if they should be buying. I think if we did not have the geopolitical tensions weighing on us coming into this week, I think it would have really just been about the Fed on Wednesday. I still think, that is the bigger catalyst on the table. Like if I had to say, is it the Russia situation or the interest rate decision, I would definitely lean towards the interest rate decision having a, weightier impact on the market. My only hesitation to be overly bearish, at least intra week, is the fact that Powell typically, obviously people who've listened to him for years know that he's notoriously a dove, but even when he has hawkish comments to make, he has a way of doing it that eases the market. He's great with his rhetoric. He always comes across as like patient, flexible, and supportive to the markets, which they generally respond positively to. If you remember the last time he spoke, we had a huge sell-off going into his comments and then a huge rally coming out of his comments. So, I'm not guaranteeing that's what's going to happen again, but, it's interesting to see that, people are definitely basing their decisions this week on around uncertainty based on what he'll say. So, yeah, I'm going to wait to make any big decisions till we get into Wednesday. I mean, I don't want to predict how the market's going to react to Powell, but I definitely think there's a chance we get a relief rally coming out of his comments, especially if tomorrow is red. I think if tomorrow is like hyper green and we're surging going into his comments, I think there's a lot of reason to sell into that. But if tomorrow we get a deep red day that kind of holds, whereas today's got bought up into the close, if we get a red day tomorrow that holds, I think that could be, a game changer for at least the intra-week action. But long term, I'm not ready to call a bottom or a top. I don't think that just because the Nasdaq is down 15-ish% from its highs and the S&P is down, I think today it just breached that 10% correction mark. So I don't think that that's necessarily justification to say go long blindly. I still think there's, a bit of sentiment that needs to be climbed, and I think we'll get more clarity coming out of Wednesday's comments.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Awesome. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. A couple of people were texting me today asking, hey, I have cash on hand. Is there a good buying opportunity right now? Good allocation. I said, unless you're, somebody who's actively scalping the market, keeping an eye on it, I would just wait until, Wednesday, Thursday, really, for any major allocations. At that point, maybe there will be some good opportunities on SPY or the Qs or Amazon or, Tesla or one of these others. But I think you got to let some of it play out first. Okay, Brad, coming over to you. We had you on this morning. We chatted. It sounded like you were going to allocate about 0.5% today. Did you end up doing that?
I did, yeah. And I'll say with the caveat of, like everyone's talking about, all this macroeconomic turbulence and noise and volatility, and respecting the fact that I don't really know where the bottom is, just inching in really slowly to names. Today was moving from 14.5% cash to 14% cash. I added to Progeny, Upstart. I know Upstart, right? 400 to 80. It's but I still very much so like the company. But just kidding there. And then also GoodRx. So the caveats really with all of this kind of monetary tightening and balance sheet runoff and all the sentiment that we've talked about for a little while now, the E in price to earnings becomes a lot more important, and things like sales multiples and gross profit multiples and other ways we have valued companies over the last 2 years become a little bit less important. So it's really focusing most aggressively on these companies I see that are now trading around market earnings multiples, but growing far in excess of markets with far more optionality and far more ability to compound over the long term. And then really adding to those with 5 to 10 to 15% drawdown bands. And then for a company that I hold, like a Lemonade or Lemonade's a great example of 5 years old, no EBITDA, no earnings, and so I have to use gross profit multiples. The bands that I'm using to justify adding there, it's more like 20 or 25%. So I am inching in, and I'm also in full agreement with the technically minded people on this call who know more about charts than I do, for sure, that whoever's telling you that, yep, this is the bottom and we're good to go now and blue skies ahead, they are talking out of their behind, and they are guessing, just like all of us would have to do, stating that opinion. So it's really just reacting to markets and taking advantage of enhancing risk reward, and doing so extremely slowly because of that ultimate respect for Mr. Market of not really knowing where this volatility shakes out. But I also just want to mention my cash position fluctuates between usually between 5 and 20%. It rarely gets to 20%. It rarely gets to 5%. It got to 5% in March 2020. It's never really gotten to 20%. But if so, I'm at 14% right now, and I'm adding 50, 60 basis points of cash at a time. So this is going to take a very long time to play out. But if I get down to 5% cash, which is that minimum, I'm going to be looking at some of the better performing value names in my portfolio, like an SMH, which is a semiconductors ETF, just to raise more cash and more liquidity for these companies that by any way you slice it, fundamentally, growth, margins, prospects, they are outperforming market benchmarks across the board, and yet they're now sporting market multiples. So that's really the theme that I'm focusing on, and that's really the cohort of stocks in my portfolio that I'm really leaning into the most heavily. Other examples would be like an Air Wellness or Cresco Labs, two names in the American cannabis industry that both have teens earnings multiples and are going to post 20% or higher organic growth this year, not to mention all the inorganic activity they have going on. But yeah, that's really where I'm at, and I will pass it on to the next speaker.
Perfect. Thank you, Brad. Appreciate that. Yeah, it was great hearing from you this morning with laying out some of the ideas, in areas where you did want to allocate capital to. I know that we talked a lot about GDRX this morning. That was a pretty popular that we're hitting on. If anybody got in when you were talking about it, which was right around kind of that 11.20 mark, I think it was at $22 then, and it's since gone up to 24. So
yeah,
they would have made
that's all lucky timing. That was just,
it's up 7%
that's not me at
since
all.
you gave us the pitch, man. That's all I'm saying.
Right. I'm amazing. So yeah, objectively, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that was,
maybe you should go into
that was
day
purely
trading.
luck. But I appreciate the shout out.
Yeah, absolutely. Brad Freeman, future day trader. Okay. Let's go over to stock market news. Evan, you sounded like you wanted to DCA in a little bit more today as well. Did you make any moves?
I did dollar cost average it a little bit earlier today on our call. Let me get it open exactly what I added to. But, I stopped myself at adding at a slightly lower point. Like I bought this morning, 10, 11 a.m. It looks like we had that market bottom around noon to 1. I stopped myself from buying that second time. I did DCA a little bit into a couple of my long-term holds. These are names I already did own, but Amazon, Disney, PayPal, and Airbnb. So all names that everyone up here is going to know, and truthfully, all names that I expect to buy lower. I don't think any of these have earnings this week, which I do like. I'm trying to avoid buying and DCAing into these positions too much more before earnings. For me, I look at Amazon when it was trading 3,300, 3,500, and I just kept telling myself that's a stock I want as a top 3 holding in my portfolio. And if it gets below 3K, I'm going to start buying again. I have a decent more buying to go in that stock, but just as it's moved lower, I've had to stop myself from buying more multiple times. So that's definitely one that I am very excited about right now. We've had talks about Disney and how it feels like at all times everybody loves Disney, the company. There's no one who's going to come out and say anything against it, but it just feels like it keeps going. Well, it doesn't feel like it does just keep going low over the last little bit. There was a range for years where it was trading, let's say, between $80 to $90 to up to about 120, which we are actually right near the top of. So hopefully the selling isn't too much more for Disney, but we shall see going forward. And then the other two are similar names, PayPal and Airbnb. I know Brad is joining me in starting to get into the PayPal boat. I know he got in a little bit after me, so he's gotten a slightly better price so far, but I'm excited to DCA into that. Yeah, pretty much names that, if you ask me next week, if the market is doing the same thing, it's probably going to end up just being these similar type names again. I haven't moved into Square this week yet. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. We'll see. I am, at my long-term investor perspective, with a 5+, 10+ year time horizon, just seeing this market and seeing everything like that. I just felt I needed to put at least a little bit of money to work. I had a couple of my friends and I had a couple of people reaching out to me, asking, should I get in the market today? Whatever, what's happening and what's this craziness or whatever. And what I told them was, I expect that we are going to go lower. We are going to struggle for a little bit of months, but from our perspective as the long-term investor, it's a decent time to get a list and start picking. Most of my friends who aren't really much in the market, I told them, hey, QQQ, SPY, those are just broad-based indexes. You can pick your own and find which one you like or whatever, IWM, Russell 2K, Dow Jones if you like that. But now is a good time for that average investor to DCA, dollar cost average, into those large indexed funds. And just take a little of that opportunity. Maybe you get a chance to index in, dollar cost averaging in a lower price over the next month, 2 months or whatever. And I think a big part of that is, it's not going all in at the first sign of a dip. It's slowly buying into dips over time so that, when we're a month into this and that's when we get the biggest down move or a huge opportunity is created, you still have that capability to hit that. What really hits me with what Brad said is, he's going between 5 to 20% cash. You notice how that 5% number isn't zero. So if when we're dipping at that point, a huge opportunity comes up, you still have that availability to jump on that opportunity. And dry powder is a really important thing to have in this market. There's a couple names that are holding up well that I did have the thought in the back of my mind to sell a little today. Foot Locker was one of them that I almost sold when it was relatively up a couple percentage points and the entire market was down. I didn't do anything with that, but I wouldn't be surprised if I did going forward. But yeah, overall, what I want to get across is just that, maybe this isn't the bottom. Maybe it is. I'm not good at calling bottom, so I would say more likely than not, this is not the bottom. And, if you are dollar cost averaging into names that deserve your dollar cost averaging, it's not just like, hey, this random stock is down 10%, I'm going to buy more. It's, hey, this stock is down 10%, let me look into it, look into why. Oh, it's broad-based market selling, nothing to do with this company, same thing there, then that's the type of name I try to move into it and try to do that. But I've been blabbering for a little bit too long now. I will cut it off. I did just want to say one thing. This is an amazing crew panel we have up here. This is an every week space. Catherine, Brad, Stock Talk, Sarge, Joey. We got a couple others who come in and out on the spaces. They are all amazing, all worth your follow. Big shout out to Gav on the Wolf Financial account for helping us put on these spaces, and huge shout out to Rippers for always bringing these crew together, doing this amazing stuff. And objectively speaking, totally objectively, I totally don't tweet from that account or anything, and I'm not biased, but it is 100% an amazing follow. Some really great content coming out of there and amazing spaces, so definitely check them out. But I'll stop blabbering and throw it back to you, Goff.
Did you watch Disney while you were blabbering? Disney just ran like a dollar while you were talking.
QQQ is trying to go positive.
Yeah. It's pushing 136, Disney. If you're not afraid to sell covered calls, you could sell the 139s expiring Friday for about $1.40. They were just trading at like $1.05.
Lending Club came back from down 10%. It's up 0.5%. That was crazy.
Market turnaround.
Yeah, we may close green. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the Russell's already green.
QQQ trying to go green right here, only 2%. Down 0.34%. with a low of the day. I just looked it up, and QQQ, this is the most volume it's had in 10 years in a single day, way more than in COVID.
Oh yeah, you
What
had a
is driving
reversal,
all this
right?
volume?
Somebody picked the bottom. Somebody huge.
Interesting.
Maybe it was
Maybe
BlackRock. Maybe Larry Fink picked the bottom. He can
yeah,
pretty
I
much
think the
predict.
Q.
He knows where it's going to close Friday. I mean,
Yeah, the Qs are basically now cut it to under $1. It's just reclaimed 350, which is definitely pretty key. So let's take a look real quick
holy
at what
cow!
the
The
yeah, right.
Nasdaq's only down 0.1%. Holy
Yeah,
cow!
this feels like a video game today.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, this is a key level right here. So if it can, continue to hold this and not, close below that close yesterday, or I guess on Friday on the 21st,
Well,
that would be
we closed at the lows of the day like 3 days in a row. So it'd be nice if it did the reverse today. It'd be nice if the S&P can get itself a little bit closer to that 200-day line, regain contact.
I'm just glad these lending club puts aren't like really killing me. I should have taken the profit, but I am going to continue to hold. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Like everybody that you're hearing is saying, like we're not trying to call bottom or anything like that. Also, I think a pretty nice driving force right now is crypto. So Bitcoin reclaimed 36. I think it was all the way down at 33 this morning, right? Yeah, it almost broke into 32 this morning. So it's at back up 36 and a half. You're seeing, Ethereum. Ethereum had dropped to under 2,200, up over 2,400 now. So it's definitely this late minute market rally. So if anybody has anything that they are placing a trade on, feel free to raise a hand at any point in here and throw that out. Would happy to hear those. Again, following up on what Evan said, this Bullish Rippers account will be doing this every single week. And now 2 out of 3 times we've done it, we've had a massive melt up in Power Hour in the Qs and SPY. So I don't know. Good luck, Rippers. Who knows? It seems to be doing pretty good. Joey, did you want to throw anything out there?
Yeah, sure. So I'm very similar to Evan in terms of my style. So I'm a long-term investor. I'm not focused on, having a good day, week, or month. I'm really focused on a good year and more so even, 5-year stretches or decades. So I have been using this recent period in order to buy in some names that I'm bullish on. And they happen to be very similar names to Evan. So Disney and Amazon are 2 of my biggest positions. So I've added into those recently over the last few weeks or so, and also a few other large cap growth oriented names. So that's pretty much my bread and butter right there, as well as some ETFs. So I've definitely used this opportunity to increase my positions in my growth oriented ETFs, as well as my large cap, mostly tech and growth stocks. So I've been using this as a great opportunity, and I can definitely see a few years down the road, we'll be looking at these prices and saying, wow, that was quite a steal. So definitely using this opportunity for sure to buy in here.
Awesome, man. Okay, let's keep this rolling. So we're continuing to watch right here as the Qs attempt. Are they green yet? Okay, so they're down 0.3%, trying to run up into green at the close. Going into tomorrow, again, just a reminder, pretty volatile week. We do have on Wednesday, we are going to have that FOMC meeting. So, and then we also have a lot of earnings. Evan, do you want to cover any of the earnings that you're looking at after close today?
After close today, it's kind of a slow start into this crazy week. We got IBM. Let me get a bunch of the other ones. I know we got that, Logitech, Steel Dynamics, but nothing too crazy that too many people are going to care about besides IBM. Let me get the expectations out in front of me. Wall Street's expecting EPS of $3.29. It's actually up 59% from last year, but I'm sure that was a COVID impact or something this year. And then their revenue is expected at $15.98 billion, down 21.6% year over year. I don't know if people actually do care about Logitech. Maybe people DM me. I'm going to say it here. DM me if you do care about it. Logitech, ticker LOGI. EPS is expected to come in at $1.25. That's down 49% year over year. And then revenue is expected to come in at $1.46 billion, down 12.6% year over year. Let me just get over to IBM and let you all know what time I would say they're going to be putting the numbers out, and then I'll pass along. They're looking like a 410, 415 release type company. So I would expect the IBM numbers out around then. But yeah, IBM's the real one that comes out today. Tomorrow, we do have a bunch of names. I know I ran through it quickly, but tomorrow before the open, I won't give you any expectations or anything. But we got Johnson & Johnson, Verizon, NextEra, Raytheon, American Express, GE, General Electric, Lockheed, 3M, and a couple others in there. But yeah, tomorrow is really picking it up. Got a huge day, but today, IBM.
Okay, now, Evan, it'd be pretty interesting if this market does dump again and flush again tomorrow. I think we spoke this morning right before market open and kind of told you my expectations where we would get the head fake, right, back towards the 200-day, and then a failure to reclaim, and then it moved downwards. That's what we talked about, right? So
yes,
we'll
sir.
see how.
Yes, sir.
Let's see if it ends up being prophetic at all. That is for anyone that's listening. So again, we're sitting on such key levels here. Like these are the key levels right now. Today, not yesterday, but Friday. SPY is now trading at 436, has its 200-day up at 442, maybe a little bit under that, and is attempting to reclaim it here, at least close above the lows that we saw on Friday, potentially. And if it can't and it fails, that's often when you'll then see that dump, that move back downwards. Obviously, we had crazy volume as well, so that's factoring in. So Stock Talk, I know you look at volume a lot. Were there any sectors specifically that stood out to you from volume, or anything that you're following with volume that just got, maybe crazy selling today that could have some opportunity?
I mean, it's difficult to make those assessments, when we've had such low volume in so many sectors for a while. For me, when I'm looking for actionable volume, I'm looking for, an inflow of volume broadly across the sector, which shows me that, some kind of big money is taking positional interest in that sector, whether it's for a short-term move or a mid-term move or a long-term move. I mean, that's all dependent on, how much volume you're getting and how much breadth you're getting. So, in this kind of market, it's more so cherry picking. Even today with the Bitcoin miners, I played short on the Bitcoin miners into the open, and then with the indexes turning around, tried to play the bounces on the long, and they're all lagging each other individually. Like sectors as a whole aren't really moving with each other because there's such sporadic selling and buying. It's kind of creating a disparity in between peers, and so this isn't the climate in which I'm paying. I don't want to say I'm not paying any attention to volume. I'm just not paying attention to sector by sector volume with the same kind of, distinction that I would in a normal market where, sectors are moving together. I mean, go look at any sector today and you're going to see division in the name. You're going to see big laggers and you're going to see big leaders, and you're going to see names in between as well. So I don't really think that there's a lot of consensus in terms of how individual sectors are trading, and that's usually what I use my volume analysis for, is to try to find where I should be. And this isn't really the market for that, in my opinion. And so I'm just trying to look at individual names that feel like they're going to work, whether it's off of a catalyst or off of a key support, trying to play bounces, trying to look for puts when I feel like charts are broken down, they're swimming below all the key moving averages. There's broad weakness in the sector. So I'm not worried too much about trying to follow the inflows and outflows and volume just yet. I'm more so concerned about what the indexes are going to do and how sentiment is. So I would say I'm monitoring sentiment more than volume, at the current state, because it's not. You can have a crazy sophisticated thesis, either volume based or technically or fundamentally. You can have the greatest thesis in this kind of market, and if we get Powell being more hawkish than normal, or if we get more news about Russia advancing on Ukraine, or any of these things can instantly change the sentiment, and you can dump on even a key support. So I just try not to be speculative here. I'm really I'm putting my day trader hat on. I'm playing bounces. I'm playing, forfeits of key levels. And that's really it. So I guess I normally am a volume trader, but not in a market like this.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good explanation there. All right. So the Qs and everything, they're still trying to go green, but they don't seem to be making that final push just yet. Small pullback, down 0.4 still. SPY.
I think QQQ did turn green for like a second, and it rejected back to like down 0.5%.
Yeah, the NASDAQ was higher, and then it got smacked.
Okay.
But it's on the way back up again. So who knows?
Yeah, it's trying. Just watching, seeing what happens
Algorithms are a
here.
lot faster than we used to be back when it was human-based. So the things
Back
don't
in the
move in
old-
slow motion anymore. Back in our glorious open outcry two-sided auction market.
Back in the pneumatic tubes day.
Yeah. Hey, that's the majority of my career, that market. That was fun.
I was able to go into the nicey up on the Peter took me up on like the 6th floor where they have like the old machine
the
with
gallery?
the pneumatic tube.
Yeah.
The gallery.
Yeah.
I was able to get some pictures and stuff up there. That was pretty cool.
They refused to hang my badge number up there. I don't know why.
You like retire it, like put it up top?
I've suggested it. No one took me serious.
Are there other ones up there?
No.
Okay, you got to get a jersey.
I was one of the few traders. Peter's one of them that bridged the electronic and the open outcry markets. There was only a few guys that that were still brokers or significant brokers or traders down there in both eras, and he's still down there. I haven't been down there in 2 years since the outbreak of the of COVID.
Yeah, Peter's like he's like Jordan Belfort and the we're not leaving scene.
Yeah, and he got a terrible case of COVID too, and I guess he was probably not down there for a good 6 months to a year. I think we gave it to each other, he and I, because I used to go down there and do a lot of television even after I wasn't an active floor trader anymore, and we, because he cared about the markets and I cared about the markets, and a lot of guys down there had kind of lost hope for a while. We used to talk markets all the time, every time I was down there, and I'm pretty sure one of us gave the other one that original strain of COVID because we both got knocked for a loop.
Yeah, I hear you. Pretty crazy stuff. Here come your cues, by the way.
Yeah, they're green again. The Russell's green. The NASDAQ's green. Something else I don't understand is green.
So we got 13 minutes left. I just went ahead and brought up Danny. Danny, you want to walk us through any trades you made today? Anything that you're setting up for going into tomorrow?
No, it was really a quick, choppy day. A lot of violent reversal action. I did take some SPY calls about 25 minutes ago on the break of the inverse head and shoulders on the 5-minute. Went with the 438 calls for Wednesday. But outside of that, no, not really. I mean, I'm probably going to close those out before the end of the day, or at least the majority of them, because we're coming into a supply zone. We're coming into a gap fill. I would not be surprised if we hit this gap and then have like a sell-off in the last 5 minutes. I mean, this was just quick day trades, scalping action. Did really well shorting SPY. I came in holding some, closed out a little bit, and then just played a couple of zero date expiration right off the 21 moving average failures on the 5-minute, riding it down till about 1 o'clock this afternoon Eastern. But we had a nice break over that at around 105, and it's been higher lows and higher highs since then. So yeah, we're coming right into that gap fill right now on SPY. So very curious to see how we finish off the day. But yeah, I think going into FOMC on Wednesday, I'm not really looking to get anything new, and I'm certainly not looking to hold anything overnight, at least anything that I don't already have. So I'll wait to see what Jay Powell has to say, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I think that's kind of the consensus. It seems to be a lot of waiting and seeing is what's going on. Okay. By the way, everybody, again, on the Bullish Rippers account right now is myself, Gov Blacksburg. You've got Evan doing tweets from this. We are so close to 14K. We're in the 13.9s. If you're not already following Bullish Rippers, please make sure that you are checking that out. We will be doing Power Hour from here every week. We will be doing long-term investing from here every week. And this week, Wednesday night, we're going to be doing investing in the cannabis sector. That will have Jason Spatfora, the Wolf of Weed Street, on it. Brad Freeman will be on it. Another friend of ours, Toby, will be on it. Potentially Zach Sokol. So good stuff going on there for anyone that's interested. We always get a nice crowd. Okay, we are continuing upwards. SPY and all these things are green and they're trying to close emphatically. So that would be good in those sides. All righty, let's bring it back around to PB. We're on here in the beginning. Have you closed out or made any further moves? We got 10 minutes left.
Yeah, those calls that were just up 30%, they're up like 195% right now. So I took most of my gains out, and I'm leaving a few to for tomorrow. But like even if these go to zero, I'm still up a lot on SPY for the day. So it's a safe trade. But it's looking really nice.
Yeah, that's a great call. I mean, you shouted those out in the beginning of this, right?
Yeah, they're up like 15%. Now they're at like 210%.
Yeah, SPY literally went like vertical since we started this.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, we almost went up 2% on SPY since this started. Going from red to green, up 0.18 now. So that's moving pretty nicely.
I've never seen SPY down that much. Like, I've only been trading for a year and a half. It was insane. I saw it down like 4%.
In a day, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, and on heavy volume too.
Yeah, I know. That's a nice candle just made.
Yeah. I mean, it's good, that we're having this start. I don't know if anybody saw, but kind of at the lows, if the month continued on the way that we were going, we were on pace for the worst month for SPY in 100 years. So if we can get a bit of a turnaround on that, I'm sure that'd be pretty helpful. Okay, we just got Juicy up here, hopping in. Juicy, how was the rest of your day since we last chatted? What are you looking at with 9 minutes left in the market?
Hey, man, I caught this mean Amazon short, and I walked away. Like, I literally just got back to the sticks now. And, everything has these hammers down, so we're setting up for a reversal, which is positive. This is what I want to see. A lot of, like, Amazon bouncing off these big levels, SPY bouncing off these big levels. So if we can get a break above today's high tomorrow, I would expect them to push it up. So I'm going to wait for this candle to close. Let's see what tomorrow happens. I would like to urge people, don't get too excited, man. I've seen this tape before. Sometimes you do get that hammer, then you get a couple days of consolidation before you get that move up. So we'll see. But for me, tomorrow, if we do get the break, I'm still going to take it cautiously. I'm going to take it with half my usual size for that reversal. I'll be looking at – I'm actually about to buy some SPY shares right now. I'm loading up right now. I do this when the market sells off. Every time the market sells off, I buy SPY shares because that's my retirement plan. And I have a hefty amount of SPY from doing this over the years with an average cost of $3.17. So for me, I'm about to load up the boat here with more SPY shares and let's see if we get that continuation tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit concerned because, we often see that attempt to reclaim the 200 day and then, when the failure from it can be tough. I know that SPY is a big long-term position for you, so it's not necessarily something that you're just trying to get in and out with. Do you think you'd be hedging that with puts or anything along those lines?
Yo, my SPY position is naked, man. It's only shares, man. But we'll see, man. If we get like a big sell-off tomorrow, maybe I get some puts, but I'm just going to buy the shares and hold them. Like I just turned 29, so I got till I turn 60. You know what I mean? So when I'm playing shares, I'm looking at it with that type of mentality. And it's SPY. They say stonks always go up. Well, you look at SPY's chart, take it on any event, any crisis, it goes up. It might dip, but it goes up, right? So the best way to play it is the actual shares. Now, for my options, I'm 100% with you, right? Tomorrow, like I just said, I'm half size. Even if we get that clear break, clear as day, I'm half size. I'm not taking my full size.
Yeah, I think that definitely makes sense. Just staying cautious, but yeah, I agree with you. Adding to SPY over that long term, that is a great long term position. And woo, we are running green here towards the end of the day. Okay, we've got all of crypto that pretty much went from red to green as well. So watching those multiple markets, we've got a lot of freaking money coming in on calls here at the end of the day. Somebody is very bullish on AMD, just a heads up. We have hundreds of thousands of dollars coming in. right now towards the end here. So a lot of money coming in on AMD. We've got money coming in on PLTR, big money coming in on PLTR as well. PLTR went from down 12% to, I think it's almost in the green now. So people are starting to hammer these calls kind of throughout the end of the day. Mara, so people are coming in on those Bitcoin plays, Nvidia. So a lot of semi action right now in a couple different areas. SPY kind of wavering, but I think as long as it closes green, it'll give people a little bit of hope. My LC puts are still getting put in the freaking garbage. Well, I guess that's pretty good for the overall market, but, not great for those puts. Just got to be a little bit more wary, take a little bit more profit off the table. Interesting things are running into this close. So we've got Apple now down less than 1%, Tesla down less than 2%. Just a reminder, this morning, Tesla was down 9.21%. So that is quite the turnaround there. Square, that was also pretty far down. Square was down 13.5% today. It hit $102.13. It is now back up to 116.84. Only down at 1.09%. What's going on, Evan?
The ARK K, it turned positive a little bit earlier in the day, and then I would say it turned back positive around 315 or 310, and is now up 2.5% after being down about 8.6% lower in the day. So you could see what kind of what kind of stocks are maybe bringing us back a little bit or starting it back. The ones that have been hit the hardest, which tends to happen.
Yeah, shout out RK. Still up 45% on it. So
you're still up 45% on it?
Yeah, I am.
Jeez, okay. Good for you.
46.5. Yeah, thanks. RK is one of the first things that I bought. This was actually way before I was like super into investing. Totally didn't really know what they did. Just like the idea of technology innovation, which I guess is what they do, but like had no idea what stocks were in it or anything like that. Just bought it because I was trying to diversify a little bit. To be honest, anybody that bought something like 2-3 years ago, like you're probably still up on it. Like a lot of them have run, even with these recent pullbacks. As long as you weren't like incessantly adding to the position on the dips, which I wasn't. I wasn't buying a bunch more of RK. What else is going on here? Wow, Twitter came back into the green today after being down all the way to $32 a share. So that's moving. All right, we got 3 minutes left. I don't see any hands up just yet. So still looking. All right, let's pull it back to Danny. Just questions for you on a couple of things here. So I just mentioned AMD and PLTR. I would love to get your thoughts on them because there's a lot of money coming in on those.
Yeah. And by the way, I have been adding to crypto on this drop. I know it's not necessarily relevant for what we're talking stock wise, but in the last 2 to 3 days, I have been adding to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. So let's take a look at AMD. So interesting. AMD came right into my demand zone today from that falling wedge and had a full, basically, well, it's kind of still it's almost like a false breakdown at this point. Came right down to the 200 simple moving average, wicked below it, popped right back up. We're pretty much back in our wedge. So AMD still looking okay. I actually had some buy orders between 100 and 106 on AMD. They did not get filled. We hit a low of 107.57. So I guess I was a little too aggressive on those buy orders. And what was the second ticker?
Oh, yeah, but it was PLTR. And before you go into it, I completely agree. So AMD, for anyone watching, dipped right under the 200-day today for the first time since July and proceeded to, obviously the whole market bounced. But there was, I think that point right there at 105.91 is probably right where my buy zone would have been on that massive volume shelf with the 200-day, right, kind of coming through it. And now it bounced back up. So maybe there'll be another opportunity.
I think.
But if AMD, yeah.
Just a heads up, I just bought a shitload of this AMD right here in the 116.12, 15 area. Yeah. I'm looking to fill it. If I get lucky, I want to see that gap fill up to 118 overnight. That's my plan.
Yeah, I really like AMD here. I still feel like we have a little more downside, but we came right into that demand zone between 112 and 4. So
I see it. Yeah.
It's a great spot, I think, to add long term, and we can even keep stops under $100 if we get that low. But I like it here. I like it. I'm gonna wait and see if we get another sell off into FOMC on Wednesday. But yeah, I do like it here.
Yeah, but I like the name. I like the CEO too from a fundamental perspective. I think she's one of the best.
Yeah.
So
And earnings coming up on the 1st. So maybe we get a little bit of an earnings run post FOMC.
yeah, her and
Okay.
Nvidia, they usually run together, Jensen and Lisa.
So going back to PLTR, yeah, it's not really a fun chart to look at. I mean, RSI is at an all-time low. We had a squeeze that was forming right at the 786 retrace at 1660. That fired to the downside, which sent us down to about 1182 today, which is pretty crazy. Our IPO or SPAC merger high was 1147. So we're coming right back into that SPAC opening day range. So yeah, it's pretty brutal to see this. Obviously, we hit high of around 40, almost $45 back in January of 21. So how the mighty have fallen. This is like probably the one of the most hated stocks of a good company. Yeah, it's really interesting. But listen, I think this is a great opportunity to get a good company that's in a really interesting space for 5 years out. I mean, I'd be snatching up shares here between $10 and $15 all day, every day. I mean, you might have to sit on it for a long time, but listen, I don't think what they're doing is going away. It's only going to get bigger. More and more companies are going to get into the data aggregation market, so or want their data aggregated. So yeah, I liked it. I like this. I mean, it hurts if you're holding this from the IPO. Obviously, if you didn't take any gains to the upside, which obviously you should have. But yeah, I think we're coming pretty close. Let me just run a quick fib extension here. Yeah, we could potentially come back down to those lows. I have a 1272 extension to the downside at $8.60. So that could potentially hit. I would not want to see it because obviously that would be painful for a lot of the holders that bought early on. But yeah, I mean that's definitely in the cards, I think, at this point. But because RSI is so oversold, I would expect a bit of a bounce coming. But generally, that doesn't necessarily mean it can't stay oversold. But I would expect it to at least bounce up a little bit here.
Perfect. Thank you, Danny. What's up, Joey?
Yeah, just real quick, the S&P, NASDAQ, and Dow all closed green. So that's a heck of a comeback. And, might be a coincidence, but did this space cause that? I mean, that's back-to-back weeks. So you never know here.
That was Gerg and him buying AMC.
I did my part, guys. I tell you, help you guys. So you guys are welcome. And congrats,
Gerg, the market
everyone.
mover.
You all survived the Black Monday.
Gerg the Magnificent.
I wonder, actually, so there actually was like a decent amount of call volume that came in on AMC. I didn't see anything like massive that stood out, but there's people that are putting $100,000 into like $20 March AMC calls. So there's money out there that's interested. I saw money that came in on blocks, but I'm just looking at like the sweeps to see if anything swept in. Yeah. And also there's people who want to play the downside for sure. There's one that came in at 3:15 p.m. today, $250,000 on March 18th, $23 puts. So they're obviously, I think they're going in the money, right? What's AMC at? Yeah, $15, $16. So definitely people are playing both sides of this towards the downside. Thanks for joining up, Gerg. Anything that you want to throw in here from today?
Give me 2 minutes. I'll finish my lunch, so I will be back. 2 more minutes.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, we'll probably run for another maybe 15, and then we'll. What's up, Sarge?
Take a look at Palo Alto. See that chart today?
Palo Alto.
PANW.
That was my short pick of the week that got stolen.
Holy moly!
I guess thank God it got stolen from me. I went the other way, but thank you.
That stock had almost a $50 range, more than that. Holy jeez.
That's yeah. That's kind of like, I mean, did you look at LC?
No, let's take a look here.
That was my play of the week, was short LC.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that thing ran all the way back up through 21.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier.
Yeah, broke through.
Damn, I'm back. Did you cover though? Bullish?
What'd you say? Did we
Did you
cover
cover
what?
your LC short?
No, because I'm holding it through earnings because I think they're gonna. I don't. Yeah, it's kind of sucks today. I maybe should have taken that profit. There was good profit on the table, but I really wanted to hold this into earnings. I think regardless of the market overall, I mean, there's this very obvious gap to 16 from 2 earnings ago that I'm looking to have filled. And even though it closed in the green today, it didn't come back above any. I guess it came back above the 786 retracement. So that's kind of important, but I think if we have a little bit of red tomorrow, it kind of falls back down.
Yo,
But yeah,
a lot of big puts coming in for SPY for Feb right now.
tell us.
So there was a 6 million put for 4/19th of 18th of February that came at 404. At 405, 15 seconds ago, we had a put at 408 for 2.5 million. Then we had a 1.2 million put buy for 403.
So you see, did you mention that you just mentioned that 38 million? Oh, well, I guess those are blocks. So you're just looking for spreads?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. I want to sort that out by spreads too. I do see some people coming in with puts, yeah, and after hours for sure. I think they're thinking the same thing that I'm thinking, which is, we didn't reclaim the 200. It was an attempt to, and if we don't reclaim it tomorrow, then we see kind of the real carnage. I mean, this market, we've come to expect volatility. So yeah, completely agree with you.
I mean, with that, right? But this amount is just insane, right? I'm pretty sure I saw a fact that I think the last time we saw a 4% move on the day, and we still closed green, was in 2008, 15 years back almost. Like, we haven't seen a move like that in the market for almost 15 years. So even Jan, right? So this January, we are on track to have the worst Jan in almost 100 years so far.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty nuts. I did mention that towards the beginning of this call. It's similar to what you were saying, where it was getting pretty crazy up in here with the downside protection. I guess let's talk any individual tickers besides that we want to run through. Evan, is there anything that you wanted to get insight on?
Actually, bad time. I'm getting a tweet out right now. I'll come back to you in a minute.
Good. Don't worry.
Yeah.
All right. While he's putting out that tweet, I just want to reiterate once more that we are doing this every power hour. We've had incredible surges during the power hours that we've done it, so we certainly have some nice incentive to hopefully run that back. Mondays are always a pretty fun day. We have significant volume. I think the market traditionally is greener on Mondays than it is on other days of the week. You're my historicals guy. Am I accurate on that?
It is.
Not lately.
So last 20 years, Friday is the worst day of the week. Monday is the best. Tuesday, Wednesday are okay. And Thursday is the second best day of the week. Monday, then you have Thursday, then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. So Friday,
Perfect.
historically, it's the day which is most likely to be the red. So that's why you are better off selling your calls on Thursdays and Fridays. So
yeah.
Ibm Earnings just came out.
There's good strategy on both sides. Real quick, before you go over earnings, just want to mention to everybody listening, we mentioned this in a lot of our calls, so if you heard it before, you're good. If you haven't, you definitely should listen up. We're going to be doing, again, 19 spaces this week, most spaces that we've ever done. This is the third of 19, so you have a lot more to catch. If you click into the Wolf Financial page right here, it's the pinned tweet, has a full schedule with every single time, speaker, everything. But if you want to make your life easy, we have a free Google Calendar with 3,500.
That's my line. That's my line.
Chill. Yeah, but you were slow with it earlier. We've got the free Google Calendar with 3,500 people subscribed, including CEOs, entrepreneurs, multimillionaires, investors, even people at Twitter Spaces have DM'd us and asked to be on this calendar. And all you have to do to get on it is right now the Bullish Rippers account, the Wolf account, or the Stock Market News account, any accounts that's hosting up here, DM, click in. The DMs are all open. Even if they don't follow you, you can DM them. and shoot them over your Gmail and ask me on the calendar. I have to get on the people from this morning still. I have like 20, 30 DMs on the Wolf account. I will get those people done after this call, but all you got to do again is just shoot over your email, and that's it. Just ask me on the calendar. This will make your life super simple. You'll see every single space when it's happening, who's speaking on it, what time, all that stuff. Once it's over, we'll take the recording and put it into there so you do not have to search for recordings. Let us make your life easy when it comes to these Twitter spaces. We're doing 30 plus hours a week. There's no reason that you need to just be like sitting there trying to keep track of it. Make your life easy. Shoot us over your Gmail. We'll get you on there ASAP. It won't clutter your schedule. You can toggle it on and off. Life is good. Okay, Evan, you got IBM earnings?
Yeah, I haven't gotten to see how the stock moved off it, but EPS was $3.35, which missed expectations of $3.39. I don't believe that's GAAP. I believe that is
stock is shooting
non-GAAP.
Up 6%.
Is it really? I would have thought it was moving lower off these numbers. Revenue came in at $16.7 billion, which missed expectations of $17.6 billion, is what I am seeing. Let me check for forward guidance because it has to be strong based on those numbers.
What'd you say, Brad? Was that you?
I said woof.
Oh, woof. Woof, woof, woof. Good stuff. Yeah, watching IBM, that's moving upward. Sorry, do you have any plays on that?
I couldn't get my thing off mute. I do not know, but I see a couple of people celebrating on Twitter because they sold puts. And Kramer is touting their great projections.
Okay.
Yeah, based on those headline numbers, they have to have forward projections that are strong. They missed top and bottom. So actually, I'm seeing that the EPS expectation might be different. Okay, wait. I am seeing from somewhere else now that they beat on top on EPS and revenue. So let me just delete that tweet and double check this. I'm seeing the second place I saw said they beat EPS of $3.35. Expectations was $3.14. Revenue came in at $16.7 billion, which ahead of 16.06 expectations. So the expectations are in question. I'll get back to you on that.
Absolutely. All right. Joey, what's up?
Nah, I was just saying I saw that Kramer tweet. If he's praising projections, that's got to be a scary bearish signal there. So got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, just a reminder, we got that inverse Kramer ETF. Okay, so since Evan and I both have a 4:30 meeting that we have to hop on to, we are going to go into just some wrap up, giving everybody a couple minutes for any final thoughts, stocks that you're looking at going into tomorrow, anything else on your radar for the rest of the week. While we're wrapping up, make sure that you're clicking into these people and following them. They are coming on here for free, just giving from their time, which is awesome. So we love having them on. The Bullish Rippers account is almost at 14,000. Super exciting to see that happening. So thank you to everybody that's been following that throughout this. We would love to have you. If we get it to 14K by the end of this call, that would be fantastic. Okay, let's go into wrap up, starting with you, Sarge.
All right. Well, today was fun. Don't get overextended. We were able to make back some money and make some money today. I still don't want to get too giddy, even though I'm mildly optimistic going into the Fed meeting, mildly optimistic going into Apple and Microsoft. I don't want to get too crazy because that can go against you in a big way. Stock specific tomorrow morning, I'm long Lockheed and Raytheon. Those are my focus. And in the afternoon, I'll be long long Microsoft, so I'll be focusing there. For me, it's evolving into, I've been saying stay skinny for a couple months. I'm still skinny, but I'm less skinny. All right. I think if we haven't gotten to a bottom, we did feel this afternoon. I feel we felt a little bit of a capitulation today. There was a sense of panic in the air. Obviously, it didn't pan out that way. Mom and pop who do something else for a living and doesn't watch the market, when they see on the news tonight that the Dow was up 99 points, they're not going to panic. But I did feel like in the middle of the day today, there were people panicking. And I think that's a positive.
Absolutely. People did panic. I think it was one of those days where some people who are in retail just go, fuck it. I'm just selling out of these positions. I need to get out finally. I can't keep taking this downturn. And I think we saw that reflected in volume.
Yeah, I think so. Those were risk managers, by the way. Portfolio managers don't do that on their own. They like to stick by their positions. So they have these guys called risk managers that they came up after 1987, and those guys are like walking, talking stop orders. Well, now everybody works from home, so they probably call you up. But back then, they used to tap you on the shoulder.
Perfect. Well, nothing wrong with closing in the green. Appreciate you being on here, Sarge.
You bet.
All right, PB Investing. Any closing thoughts?
Not really. I'm just watching the after hours movement and IBM just ripping right now. I'm excited for tomorrow. I mean, I don't think we're gonna have the same range, but that would be sick. For like day trading, this range is awesome.
Okay, very cool. Anything else on your radar for tomorrow?
Obviously, I'm just probably gonna be trading QQQ, AMD, and then a couple of.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, Danny, any
Thank you
closing
for
thoughts?
having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just just remain patient. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but just wait for FOMC. If you want to day trade and scalp, happy to do it. Today was a beautiful day to do that, but I think we're closer to a bottom. Like I really completely agree with what Sarge said. I just don't feel like it's the bottom. So you just got to be really careful. You know, I think if the FOMC comes out and Jay Powell says some nice things and everybody gets excited, I think we see another move up. But just keep in mind what's going on in Eastern Europe. These macro events, they seem to come around every time the market starts to falter. It's what I like to call a FUD storm: fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And so don't underestimate the mainstream, news coming out to be negative and push this right back down. You have to just really be conscious of these events. So, day trader, scalping hat on, swing trader hat river is retired, sitting on top of my shelf, and just be patient. Let's revisit this conversation Monday after Jay Powell comes out and says what he has to say. I do feel like we will get a bounce off of that, but I don't know. I have this sinking feeling that we'll see another move up, and then some kind of macro event's going to happen. Something's going to come out, and we get pushed right back down. So, not sold on this at all. But going back to what Sarge said, I did put out some charts on Raytheon, some of the other defensive contractor plays. I think with this macro event going on now, or with the event going on in Eastern Europe and Russia, I think defensive stocks are a really good place to look. I did my due diligence over the weekend. Some of those stocks have really, really nice consolidating setups with wedges. So I would recommend taking a look at some of those names and see what we can play to the upside there, and also value stocks. Your what is it? Kroger's, your TJ Maxx, your Targets, your Walmarts, your staple names, Heinz Crafts, KHC, those types of names. They've held up pretty well on this downturn. So they're not the sexy plays, but hey, green is green, money's money. So that's what I got. Thanks for having me up here again, and I'll see you all tomorrow evening at our 8 p.m. slot as usual.
Not if we see you at our 12 p.m. slot first.
Only if you see me there. I might come up for that too. Yeah, you're right.
Perfect. Danny, what does your day trader hat look like? Is it a fedora?
Oh, it's always a fedora. But however, I'm a really big fan of these ball caps that I've been getting. It's the Farm series from Gorin. They've got the Farm series. So I got my goat hat. I got my black sheep hat. I've got let me see what else I got. I got the goat hat. Oh, and the cock. You got to have the cock hat too.
Goddamn. Tell them how it is. All right. Thank you, Danny. All right, Catherine, any closing thoughts?
Danny stole one of my points, but I'm still going to make it regardless. From a journalistic perspective, obviously the Eastern European situation, as Danny said, it will become perhaps too much blown out by the mainstream media as we know it, but it's definitely a story to still pay attention to because it could have some kind of impact on the market. At least, it starts out being FUD, and it could, as Sarge is probably better to speak on this, it could lead defensive stocks higher depending on what happens and what plays out in that situation. Outside of that, though, the IBM earnings really kick off tech earnings for this week. So I think that I'll take a closer look at the exact earnings report and listen to the call, see what they had to say. Looking forward to Microsoft tomorrow, and then obviously the Fed. And outside of that, how does the market react tomorrow after this kind of whiplashy day that we got?
Absolutely, keeping our eye on it. Okay, Brad?
I guess just sticking with the Eastern European theme, and I'll get to sneak in talking about one more ticker really quickly. I have a small position in a company called Ozon, which is an e-commerce player in Russia, which is a hyper grower and not profitable. So you can imagine it got swept up not only in the growth land shellacking, but also in this Eastern European geopolitical, all the challenges we're facing right now. And I mean, if you look at the valuation, it trades for like 0.6 times this year's sales, and then like 8 or 9 times gross profit or something like that. 50% top line growth for the next 2 years. They've already demonstrated they can be cash flow positive. They've since pivoted to spending for lack of a better term, a shit ton of money on new endeavors. I mean, they call themselves the Amazon of Russia, and I'm sort of going to roll my eyes at that until it comes to fruition. But they've already demonstrated they can be profitable. Investments in new products are all working. We just have all these geopolitical fears and the fact that it's not profitable. And I'm borrowing one of Stock Talk Weekly's points of the fundamental thesis for Ozon has not changed at all, and yet it's fallen 50-60%, and I've been extremely cautious adding to it because of all of this exogenous uncertainty with macro noise, and also the fact that it's one of those non-profitable young, or not, it's really not young, but it's a hyper-growth company and not profitable, which is getting just indiscriminately sold off in this market environment. So fundamental thesis extremely intact, but at the same time haven't been adding to it super aggressively lately because of all this stuff that we've talked about. And I just think that goes into the overall theme of, even for an extremely micro-focused investor like I am, you're hurting yourself if you just turn your nose at macroeconomics and don't pay any attention to it. So I'm a predominantly micro investor, but that means 80-20. It doesn't mean 100-0 in terms of micro-macro. So just pay attention to it, even if you do really like to focus on single company investment theses like I do. It's still important, and just wanted to mention that. But thank you for having me, Wolf, again, and see you Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and every day. And Wolf and Evan are both awesome follows on Twitter as well. While they say all these nice things about us, we should be saying a lot of nice things about them too.
Thanks, my love. Appreciate you. All right, let's keep it rolling. All right, Stock Talk.
How come you never call me my love?
We'll get there. We'll get there.
No, I'm just kidding. No, it was a good day for me. You know, obviously, long-term portfolio is a different story in these kind of climates. It doesn't do exceedingly well, but it was nice to see the indexes go from deep red to green, I should say. You know, the Nasdaq was almost down 5% at one point today, so. You know, it's interesting to see that there's still dip buyers at these levels, which, you know, today for the Qs, it was kind of a no man's zone. And so I don't really expect to see a V-shaped recovery intraday like we did. You know, seeing the Qs close green was surprising for sure. But, you know, like everybody here has said, we're really looking to the Fed on Wednesday. I'm not going to be putting in any big size in anything until then. You know, tomorrow, if I see individual setups intraday, I'll take day trades like I did today. But, you know, like I think we've all been saying this since October of last year, that we've all had our day trader hats on. And, you know, that's what works in a market like this, because, you know, the second you try to hold overnight or, you know, hold into the open and then you get a reversal, I mean, there's so many things, especially if you're playing options, that can burn premium and, you know, really mess up your thesis. So I just try to be patient, day trade where I can in a market like this. And once we have a more definitive trend in one direction or the other, then I'll be putting on more size and holding things overnight. But for now, playing it super, you know, risk averse almost, but still taking trades. I'm not participating. I'm just doing it in a very short term and very, you know, I'm very inclined to take profits much more quickly than I would in a different type of market. So just taking it day by day.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I, you know, see that every time I don't take those profits, that they quickly disappear. So taking them, getting in, getting out, that is absolutely the type of market we're in. We still all have our long portfolios. You know, Juicy was adding SPY. We have those things that we're not worried about. They're going to be things we hold for years. But on that day-to-day, you know, to supplement and, you know, add to our income, for sure, it makes sense to take that profit and get out. Okie dokie. All right, Joey, coming to you. And also, big shout out to Joey. going to help me power through these DMs. If anybody's not already checking out Joey, what do we got you up to? You got a couple hundred followers now. Look at that, 277. My man, he's got the ratio going and everything. Definitely be sure you're checking out Joey. Really, really smart guy. Really helpful. Letting me get things like sleep, food, water, good things like that. So big help. All right.
All the essentials. Definitely, I want to keep Gav alive. That's the plan. But yeah, appreciate the kind words, man. Yeah, this week, obviously off to a crazy start today. I'm really excited to see what happens with the Fed and Powell's comments on Wednesday. Also have some big earnings with Apple, AMD, Microsoft, Tesla. So excited to see how that plays out. And lastly, just a shout out to all the great speakers up here. We pretty much have the best of Finchwood up here, so be sure to check them out and give them a follow. You definitely will not regret it. Also, shout out to our great co-hosts, Wolf and Stock Market News. They're putting out on great spaces all the time and are working together to build something great with the Bullish Rippers account. So be sure to check everyone here out, and yeah, you will definitely get some great stuff. So thanks for having me up here. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. All right. Stock market news, last but not least, coming over to you.
Yeah, no, big shout out to everyone for coming in and making this spaces so great. That plus the market going from the crazy red open that we had to turning green, pretty wild. I feel like if you typed into your phone and asked Siri, hey Siri, what does market volatility look like? All she could say is today, and you would know exactly what it means. So, not every day is going to be like today. It seems like we're in that type of market where it's happening more consistently. And, if anyone's been in here for a while, you'll remember like 1,000-point swings became the regular like 2019. And it was pretty crazy today to see this and everything that's going on, but really excited. We finished green, especially after I did a tiny bit of dip buying this morning. Check out all the speakers that we have up here. Amazing people, really smart people who are able to give you such great knowledge on these spaces. Imagine all the amazing content that they're going to be able to have and put out to you guys guys and girls, sorry, just the way I speak, but put out to all of you, when they have the chance to sit down, think, and actually word it out. Wish they could get more than 280 characters in there, but that's another conversation for another day. Make sure you're following everybody up here, only posting the top content. Big shout out to Wolf Financial, the guy who's speaking on the Bullish Rippers account right now. Big fan of him. Me and him have been doing a lot of really cool stuff together that's only going to be increasing over time. And one of those really cool things we are doing is a lot of stuff with this Bullish Rippers account. So make sure you are following the Green Raccoon that is hosting the spaces. I myself, Evan, Stock Market News, I post a lot of the tweets from there. I post every single tweet from there, actually. Might be one or two retweets. I wasn't the one who retweeted the Snoop Dogg thing, but I totally would have. If you want to check into the profile, you can see what I'm talking about with that. Gav is hosting a bunch of the spaces. I'm hosting a bunch of the spaces. A lot of cool stuff coming there. So definitely an account that you want to follow, but I'll stop the blabbering there. Make sure you check out all the speakers we have up here. They're all really, really, really amazing people posting really amazing content and will make your timelines much better.
Absolutely. Really, really enjoy this space. Obviously, going green on the day certainly didn't hurt. Love the direction that we went in there. Hopefully, we'll continue to see that throughout future spaces. Big shout out to everybody, not just who came in and spoke, but all the listeners. We have a lot of our friends. I see Mel and TSDR and others that come in here and listen to these, and chat with us. We always get a bunch of our verified accounts. Love y'all. I see Bitcoin Baddies down there. A lot of favorite people coming in, hanging out with us for an hour and a half every Monday. So once again, this is space 3 of 19 that we'll be doing this week. A majority of those will be hosted by the Wolf account. That is your number one spot for financial Twitter spaces covering everything investing, from stocks to crypto to NFTs, everything between long and short-term fundamentals and technicals. I'll be back on spaces from the Wolf account at 6:30 p.m. EST in 2 hours, hosting the ZZZ Money Club. We'll be talking about financial literacy. And then tomorrow, full slate, 4 spaces, starting with live trading at 9 a.m., charting and technical analysis at 12, crypto and NFT taxes at 5 p.m., and then our full-on 8 p.m. EST market sentiment and stock picking space that we do with a broad panel of investors. Several of those have been here today. Let's get it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will chat with y'all on the next one. Take care, everybody.